Last year, the hype craze that was the Retroid Pocket 2 kicked off with a bang. With over 15 retro-inspired colors to choose from at an unbeatable price, the RP2 offered a great value that could scratch that nostalgic itch. What remains to be seen is how well Retroid can follow up on that success. Hello everyone, my name is Taki, and today we're going to take a look at the new Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. A brief disclaimer before we get started. This device was provided to me for free for the purposes of this review, and the other devices that I have come from being a beta tester of this product. All of the opinions that you're about to hear in this video are my own, and no one from the company had any approval over anything in this video before it was uploaded here for all of you. If you want to purchase this device after watching this review, there's a non-affiliated link in the description box below. If this link changes in the future, there will be a disclosure on the link itself. As has been customary with these reviews, there are coupon codes scattered throughout this review for those that are intrepid enough to find them for significant savings off the purchase of a device, including codes that would make the product free. These are going to be difficult to find, and literally anything in this video could be a code, including that. I'll also be giving away my personal Indigo device featured in this review to one lucky subscriber. More information on that later. Let's start off with some specs. The Retroid Pocket 2 Plus comes with a Unisoc T310 CPU with one Cortex A75 core clocked at 2 GHz and 3 Cortex A55 cores clocked at 1.8 GHz. We have a GE 8300 GPU clocked at 800 MHz, 2 GB of LPDDR4X RAM, 32 GB of eMMC 5.1 storage with support for an additional 1 TB of SD card storage, a 4000 mAh battery, and a 3.5-inch touchscreen IPS display with a resolution of 640 by 480. For connectivity, we have 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi, as well as Bluetooth 5.0. All of this runs on Android 9. In my first section, I want to focus on the layout of the device and the controls, as there are some significant changes here over the original product. On the left side of the device, you'll see that we have an analog switch style joystick. Just like the original RP2, this does not have L3 functionality. Under this is our new D-pad. This uses conductive rubber versus the dome switches used in the original device. One of the common complaints of the original RP2 was from people that did not like the clicky buttons that it had for the D-pad and the ABXY buttons. Thankfully, that situation has completely improved. What we have now is an above average D-pad that is better in every measurable way. The travel length has increased, the profile has been adjusted to make it easier to use, the responsiveness has improved, and gone are the annoying clicky sounds that bothered so many. This change to the D-pad is one of my favorite changes to the product because it has increased the functionality of the device more than some would expect. If you love fighting games where precision is key, being able to pivot correctly with the older D-pad in the RP2 could be more challenging than it should be, but this new D-pad has no issues. The ABXY buttons have also been changed to conductive rubber, but one of the more significant changes for me is their new added height. The original buttons sat very low and close to the shell, which did not provide the best feeling as you pressed the button and the shell with your thumb at the same time. With the added height of the new buttons, this is no longer an issue. There's a reasonable amount of height left in the button once they are fully pressed that improves the entire experience for me while playing games. These two changes make this device killer for playing retro games. Below these buttons is our analog slider. On the original product, this functioned essentially as an 8-way D-pad. On the 2 Plus, this same component now provides real analog input, which makes it much easier to use this for games that require more precision. We will look at how this functions in games later in this video. Beyond the added power that we now have, the next biggest quality of life improvement for many will be the brand new touchscreen. This panel has several key aspects that I want to talk about, but for any of them to be meaningful, we need to talk about the history of the screens used in the RP2. In the original product, Retroid went through 3 different batches of screens, from 3 different providers. I've openly talked about it on many occasions, but the first screen was my favorite. It has the highest brightness of any of the screens at around 500 nits, and it has the best color temperature in my opinion. The second batch of screens had a lower brightness, cooler color temperature, and significant color distortion when viewed at extreme diagonals. The third batch of screens had an even lower maximum brightness and a cooler color temperature, but it did not have any of the color distortion. Between that time and now, Retroid finally learned how to qualify a screen on their own, so they know what to ask from their providers. There were 2 main requirements for the RP2 Plus screen. The first requirement was that the brightness should at least exceed the brightness in the original screen. The second requirement was that the screen's color temperature should be roughly in the ballpark of 7000 Kelvin. The current screen is around that color temperature, and the brightness is around 520 nits. Even though I still like the original screen since I've spent most of my time with it, the new screen is objectively better in several key points. The color accuracy is significantly better, especially when it comes to the blues, which have a high delta E on the original screen, and the increased brightness is easier to use in more settings. While many got used to using the system without touch input arguably makes this device easier to use as well as more efficient. There is, however, one big criticism that I have of this screen, and it has a lot to do with the quality assurance going on at the factory that makes this device. To illustrate what I mean, here are two Retroid Pocket 2 Plus units that were completely made from scratch by me. I made this red one just recently, so I know enough to say that assembling this device correctly is not that difficult. If I set these two devices to view an all-black image, we can check for light bleeding. Light bleeding can happen anytime there's uneven pressure on the screen. It can happen on any device, including ones that are over $1,000. As you can see from this example, the situation is not that bad on the ones that I made by myself. Here is the one made by the factory. There are a lot of factors that could have made the screen look like this after being assembled, but the fact of the matter is that this should not be happening to this extent on a complete Retroid Pocket 2 Plus device. If a screen like this came off the line, the person that was responsible for doing it clearly needs to be spoken to so they can stop making errors like this. Viewing an all-black image is an extreme use case, but I did not want to ignore this problem because it's clearly there on some of the early units. Surrounding the screen are two front-firing speakers that pump out decent audio for media consumption and gaming. I'll do an audio test of these later in this review. That leaves us with our bottom three buttons of Home, Select, and Start. These still use dome switches and are easy to reach with your left hand. Everything on this front isn't perfect though. For some reason, this device still uses the original screen-printed logo on the front of the Retroid Pocket 2, which seems like a strange oversight to make on a new product. It also makes it very challenging to know what device you're using without first powering on the product. On the top of the device, we have a set of stacked shoulder buttons, which still are not that common in this market. L1 and R1 are still on the clicky side compared to the other two buttons, so it would have been nice to see a change in the input switches that are used to make the device quieter overall. This device supports HDMI out over a micro HDMI port, but the key change this time around is that the video out signal does not stretch a 4:3 image from the screen. When you connect this to a TV or a capture device like you can see now, the center image should be 4:3 with proper padding on the left and the right sides to be able to send out a 16:9 image for modern TVs. If you like the 4:3 scaling of the panel that we have, this is a great improvement to keep that scaling when you connect the device to a TV. You'll see that we also have a Type-C port for charging and data transfer. The key change this time around is that this device charges significantly faster than the old Retroid Pocket 2. Now we're able to charge at up to 1.4 amps per hour at our fastest speed, which brings our total recharge time to around 3 hours or so. When you couple this with the fact that the same charge goes a lot further with our new processor, this is a huge quality of life improvement. Finally, on the top, we have our volume buttons, a power button with true sleep functionality, and an LED indicator light. On the bottom, we have a trusty headphone jack and an SD card slot with support for up to 1 terabyte of additional storage and support for an exFAT file system. There's nothing on either side of the device, and the back is bare with only a sticker incorrectly branding this device as a Retroid Pocket 2. Everything else from the fit and finish to the paint is exactly the same as it always has been. The software on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus is radically different from the original product, so this is going to be a longer section. Let's first start off by going over the new user experience. On your first boot, you'll go through a new user wizard that allows you to do several important things. The first thing that you're able to choose are the apps and emulators that you want to install. Simply select them from the list and they will be installed on the device for you, so you're ready to go without any fuss. You'll also be able to choose between 2 different launchers on this product that you can switch between whenever you want. I made a video about a testing version of this already, but I want to show off some of the new functionality. Here we are in the main window of the launcher after a fresh install. In the top left corner, I'm able to choose a profile picture for my device and set my own gamer tag. We also have the ability to change our default light theme to a dark one by activating a switch on this screen. Another new change is the ability to add applications to this interface. Simply click the Add App button and you'll be able to add any installed app that you have to this 2x2 scrolling window. To run a game, all you have to do is press the A button or press the icon with your finger, and you can exit the launcher by pressing the Quit button at any time. In the emulation section, we're able to add the systems that we want to have in our front end, as well as the ROM directories that we want the device to scan. Once scanned, the files are matched against a database and artwork is downloaded from the internet for your games. Once that is done, we can launch any of these games with our installed emulators. Here's the cool thing. If we do not have an emulator installed for any given system, the front end will prompt us to get it from Google Play. If a RetroArch core is the best emulator that you can use, and you do not have the core installed, the system has an option to automatically install and launch the game for you. This is extremely user-friendly. In the case of each individual system, the best emulator should be configured as the default option to launch games that have been tested to work well on this hardware. I'll have more information about this entire workflow in a follow-up video. For now, let's carry on. As I've already mentioned, this device is running on Android 9. This is much better than the initial firmware used in the RP2 and any that came later. One of the most important changes this time around for users of the device is a better process of providing consistent updates for the product. In the original product, Retroid dragged its feet with providing the community with the promised Android 8 update for months, as well as providing consistent and reliable OTA updates. I was a vocal critic of their decisions at that time, and I'm glad to say that things seem to be different this time around. Now we have a new way of getting updates that are faster and more consistent. Simply go to the Updates section of the Settings app, and you'll be able to check for OTA updates. The difference this time around is that we are no longer required to download the entire 1 GB system image just to apply small changes. Now, Retroid is using incremental updates, which are significantly smaller in file size and much easier to download and install. At this point, we have already had 4 OTA updates since the product launched, which is more than you can expect from any other Android gaming product over its entire lifetime, with the exception of products from Mochi. The next new addition to this device is the ability to use screen mapping for Android games that only support touch. For those that use the DIY upgrade method of making an RP2+, this is a killer feature for those without a touchscreen. To get started, simply swipe from the right side of your screen to open a floating window. Once here, you'll have access to several new features at a glance, including system information. We're going to start off by pressing the key adapter button and then map all of the buttons that we need for this game. After we're done, we can save the profile and use the settings that we've just made. If you know other people with Retroid Pocket 2 Plus devices, the cool thing that you're able to do is export your profiles for others to use. Head into the menu that should be labeled as Profiles and you'll see Import and Export options. Exporting will create a file that you can then give to others so that they can use your settings. Another cool feature that I want to go over while we're on the topic of screen mapping is that you're able to use these screen mapping profiles with a connected Bluetooth controller. Now that we have a decent Bluetooth spec on the device, gaming over Bluetooth when connected to a TV is a good option. Similarly, you can also hook up a USB gamepad to benefit from lower latency. One area where the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus shines above other products in this generation is in its power consumption. The T310 is a 12nm processor with only 4 cores compared to the 28nm processor in the original device or 28nm processor in the RG552. On its face, this means that we have significantly better power efficiency and performance per watt than other products. We also have lower power consumption due to a change in how the video signal gets sent to our screen. In general terms, this means significantly better battery life that is probably unbeatable in this generation. To put things on paper, I've generated the following list to show power consumption data for several game systems along with the expected battery life that you would get on a full charge. As you can see, this product is a beast when it comes to battery life. Before we finally see what this device can do in practice, I want to provide a clip of the audio quality from this device. Now it's time for some fun. Let's kick things off with some Android gaming performance tests. For this, I'll play games that have native support for gamepads as well as those that only have touchscreen controls. In those cases, I'll use the screen mapping software that I showed earlier.
This is Sergeant Kelly. We're under attack by an unknown enemy force. Fall back to Marine HQ to regroup.
We're incoming and need medical on station staff.
Man HQ, this is Fire Team 2. Monorail track is destroyed. How do you...
Station 12, do you read? They're filling the underground with manpacks.
Quest complete.
All hail the bard, rat killer, and rodent bane. The bard, having slain the random wolf, found that it had digested not only the contents of a...
This is the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for. Let's look at the emulation performance of the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus with our added processor. For this, I'm going to try and show a broad range of what this can do. I've dedicated extended plays for many of these games on my second channel that you can watch if you want to see more. Several clips from this video will also be uploaded there as extended plays. First up, let's look at SNES using the SNES core. This is a very accurate emulation core that would never be possible on the original device. On the Retroid Pocket 2, we were restricted to the 2002 and 2005 cores. Anything higher than that would be hit or miss. For those that want the best emulator as possible, this is a big improvement. Next, let's look at GBA emulation. Again, this was possible on the original device, but we needed to use a specific outdated RetroArch version and an outdated emulation core. Now, we can use any core we want, and the performance is perfect. Nintendo DS ran well on the original device, but not having a touchscreen was a bit annoying at times. After remapping a button to swap the screens on the fly, it's now much easier to enjoy DS games. Dreamcast is the first big performance improvement on this device thanks to our new processor. With our added power, we have several options available to us, including the Redream emulator. This gives us access to a no-fuss option for those that do not want to touch settings, as well as Flycast for those that like a little more control over their emulation. Similar to Dreamcast, N64 also got a massive performance boost on this new device. Now we have access to great performance in Mupen FZ, as well as several good RetroArch cores that are easy to use and run well.
A powerful blow.
Sega Saturn emulation does not get the attention that it deserves, and this system was entirely unplayable on the original RP2 due to the weak processor. Now, we have access to a modern build of the Saturn emulator, and its performance is very good. While our aspect ratio is not ideal for PSP, the PSP emulation performance is very good on this device. If you know me and my reviews, I'm not one to overly be optimistic about performance increases post-launch and tend to judge products as they are when they ship. That is a little different in the case of the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. I have a tablet with this exact processor running on Android 11, and it can run many games better than this Android 9 firmware, especially when we get to very demanding games like God of War. So far, this seems to be the only system that has this ability for a performance increase.
Round 2. Fight. You win. Get ready.
I knew better than to trust spirits and...
In here.
If you watched my video on Ether SX2 running on Android handhelds, then you've already seen this device running some PS2 games. In this section, I'm going to show more games that run well on this chip. PlayStation 2 was never supposed to work on this device, so this is a happy bonus more than anything else.
Well, you're more handsome in person than in your photo. Welcome to Inaba.
Yeah, well, once you hopped on the freeloader train, I had to change my plans.
.3DS can technically run on the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, but performance is not that special. More than anything, it's just cool to see a game running on this device. That leaves us with our final and most requested section, Nintendo GameCube. I'm going to skip over Wii because it's too annoying to play on this device. When we're talking about GameCube, I've tested 178 games. Of the games that I've tested, 121 of them run well and can be considered to be highly playable. Again, this was never supposed to be the case when this product originally started out, but the Dolphin emulator and an unofficial build improved enough for this processor to be able to enjoy some NGC games. I'll talk more about GameCube emulation in a follow-up guide.
With flesh-eating slugs. The Leaky Cauldron's the finest pub in London, Harry. It's got a huge cellar.
Let's finish off this video with my overall thoughts of the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. I was a big fan of the original product, and this new one improves on almost everything imaginable while still keeping an affordable price. The controls are better, the software improvements make the device easier and more enjoyable to use, many new systems are now supported, and the battery life has increased. This sells for $65 without shipping if you use the PCB upgrade option, or $99 for a complete device. At that price, you're getting something that is 3 to 4 times better than comparably priced products on the market today. Not only are you getting better bang for your buck, but you're also benefiting from significantly better software than other companies are currently offering, and all of that R&D is and was paid for from the support of Retroid fans. They put a lot of resources into this product, and I think it shows from everything that I showed here. There's only so much you can change when you make a product that reuses the same mold as the previous one, but Retroid made enough good changes that make this product much better than it would have been with just a simple processor swap. I hope the price competition from this device helps to push other companies to offer better products at affordable prices, because that will be better for all of us as users of these products. Anyway, I'm interested to know your thoughts of this product down below. How do you feel about what was showcased here, and do you think this is a good value at $99? Let me know down below. As for the purple device, I'm actually going to give out 2 units. If you want to win, all you have to do is make your subscription status public and leave a comment on this video. One device will randomly go to someone that has been a subscriber to this channel for the longest, and the second will randomly go to one other subscriber. That brings the total amount of devices that can be won in this video for free to 10. Enjoy the ARG, and thanks for watching. Taki out. Alright, I'm just gonna get some coins to get my health back before I start recording. Alright, that's bad luck, but it could happen to anybody. Alright, 2 times, still bad luck. Shouldn't happen again. Alright, what the